to Beyond the Art. I'm Kat, and here with us today we have Moses David, the pastor of the Pioneer Leadership Academy and the author of Iron Compass. Welcome, Pastor Moses. How are you?
Good, doing fine.
Great, glad to hear it. And I'm going to jump right in here, okay?
All right.
Tell me about this book, Iron Compass. Tell me about the title.
Yes, title is it's very personal. It's a personal book that I was inspired to do. I remember having a conversation with God, and as a visionary and someone all my life, I've always been doing things that was pretty cutting edge, out the box.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just different, man, and that's just who I am. And so I remember having this conversation saying, Lord, what you are ultimately calling me to do, man, is there a blueprint out there? Is there somebody that is doing what you've called me to do? I would love to meet that person. I need a mentor. I need, somebody to just give me some direction, because I feel like, there's just some areas I need help with. I really do. And I would love to have a blueprint to go by. I don't have to be the one to invent the wheel. You know what I mean? If there's a wheel turning already, please, Lord, let me see where it is. I would love to jump on it. And when I asked the question, I heard absolutely nothing. It was quiet. You know what I mean? And so I still remember, going and looking, searching for those who I felt may have been in my lane or where I was trying to go, seeking out a mentor, and just never felt peace on anyone that I actually seen or connected. And then there was a few that I tried to, and it just didn't happen. No doors were opening. So I remember revisiting it again, and then he answered me, and he said, son, I want you to write down everything that you wish you had, or everything that you've experienced and you wish you knew that information before you experienced it. I want you to write and set it up for those who are coming behind you. And I was like, wow, really, Lord? I asked you for a blueprint and you're asking me to write one. And that was the answer. He was like, yes, I am. And then from then on, as I began to, have the conversation with God, and he began to then reveal the title of the book to me, and that was Iron Compass. And I remember him giving me this title, and I still didn't really know what it meant. I was inspired, and I started writing it, and then I started doing research on the Iron Compass, and found out how Iron Compass is a compass that is set to north. You know what I mean? And when I saw that, and he's beginning to give me revelation on that, and he started reminding me of the children of Israel in times of their journey, and how, something that was only supposed to take a few days, how it took them 40 years to actually accomplish this. And there were several times where he mentioned go north. And so they would travel in the direction of north, and in them traveling, they still would go through things, extra obstacles. And the whole time, as we know, in the Old Testament and dealing with the children of Israel, all he wanted was relationship with them.
Right.
That's all he wanted. All he wanted them was to see him as who he is, which was their God. And then they could take them and get them to the land of Canaan, the promised land. So when he was saying, look north, he gave me the revelation that I wanted them to look to me, because north is up. And when you look to me and you seek my face, I will answer. I will have answers for you. I will give you the path. I will allow you to skip a whole lot of drama and a whole lot of journeying if you just seek my face. And so then as he began to break down the things that he wanted in the book, and he said, I'm the compass. You don't need any other blueprint. You don't need any other thing, to get you to where you're getting to. However, I do have a blueprint for those that are thinking just like you.
Wow.
So that they can look to me.
Wow.
Yes, God.
He lets you write your own self-help book.
Yes, Lord.
That's awesome.
Yes, God.
You're a pastor.
Yes.
You're a leader of a community. You're a husband. You're a father.
Yes.
And now you're an author. How do you balance all those different facets of your life?
Yes. As I tell a lot of people, whenever you're given an assignment, there's always a time for process of elimination. And in order to get anything done, you will have to eliminate things that may have been around you or been a part of you, things even sometimes that you love to do. And the Father says the season's up for that. Oh, wow. And you have to put it down. You have to drop it in order to get done what it is that he has for that season.
When did you find the time to write a book and doing all the things that you do?
Yes, I will be honest about this question. This book has been in me for years, without question, as well as along with other books that I'm going to begin to start writing. But this one in particular, I knew he wanted first. And I would love to say that I started off just disciplining myself and sat down and said, I'm going to do this book. But that wasn't the case. I hit a serious time in a season in my life. And some who may know that my mother had gotten ill. Wow. And in that process, as things intensified, I had to slow down and I had to take time out and also eliminate some things to serve her in those times. And it was a good 8 months before she passed. And in those 8 months, having great times with her and being in the hospital and alongside her bed, there were times where she would go to sleep and I would be with her until she fall asleep. And when she would fall asleep, then literally I would hear God say, right. And the Holy Spirit will come. And I believe he also used that as therapy for me as my mother was going through what she was going through. And so that started the process of this book. Okay. I didn't finish it within those 8 months, but it sure got things rolling because I had time to sit alongside of her. And when she slept, I wrote. And she was always on me about, you better finish that book, boy. Oh. So that also helped motivate me in a lot of ways to make sure that it would get finished.
I think that's beautiful.
Yeah.
I think, out of a painful circumstance that, something great and inspiring came out of it.
Absolutely.
I definitely was honored to catch a sneak peek of the book.
Yes.
And I know the thing going through that with your mom, I know that was a painful experience. Absolutely. But that brings me to one of my favorite parts of the book.
Yes.
You said that without pain, you can't discover your strength. You said strength is hidden in life's painful experiences. Pain contains measures of weight, and that weight conditions you to perform well for future obstacles. Now, do you believe this book will help people, especially believers?
Yes.
What C.S. Lewis called is the problem with pain. The fact that we have a loving and nurturing and caring God, but people suffer.
Yes.
Do you think this book will help them through that?
Absolutely. There are several key factors in this book that will help them. And what I try to even express in the book, but then also in my teaching, is that, pain, if you can't be afraid of it because it will strengthen you. It does build you. It purifies you. Yeah. There's certain type of pains that'll show up in your life that if you allow the process to happen, it will literally purify you. And it breaks habits off of you. People don't know that either. If you let it do what it's supposed to do and that process comes, habits will fall. Bad habits I'm talking about will fall off of you. And you never know who you are until something tragic or painful approaches or comes up in your life. You will see clearly who you are. And a lot of times when you're looking in that mirror, it's not anything pretty, but it is designed to show you who you are so that you can grow past that and you can heal properly. How can you heal from something and you never seen it? You don't know even what it is. So it's impossible to heal if you don't know what you're dealing with.
True.
Yes.
True. Now, other than pain, you touch on a lot of things in this book. You touch on a lot of different topics that a lot of people aren't even comfortable talking with. A lot of people don't really talk about it.
Right.
You have different characters like the Death Kisser.
Yes.
And Mr. Goodwrench.
Yes.
Now, I personally really like Mr. Goodwrench because I think I've dated a couple Goodwrenches.
Okay, absolutely.
Can you just tell us, just give us a little bit about Mr. Goodwrench because I feel like he is.
Yes.
He's himself. Yes.
Mr. Goodwrench is something else, I'm telling you. Especially for anybody that is, again, looking for a relationship, or a visionary that actually has an idea of where they want to go, and they feel like they're ready for the next level. And so a lot of times we get approached when we're right at that mark where we feel like it's time for us to go forth in something. So Mr. Goodwrench shows up. And the way Mr. Goodwrench works is it's usually an individual that is very stable, has their stuff together. Integrity is awesome. Everything on the surface is good. However, they are very immature spiritually. They're very insecure as well. And so they serve out of their insecurity. So now you have a relationship where you've allowed someone who is a Mr. Goodwrench, and I call it that name because what wrenches do is they tighten up bolts for platforms. And you have a platform that you're building. So here you have this platform that you would love to launch off of. And you have everything. You even got the bolts. You know what I mean? You got the screws, everything in place, but you don't have the wrench. So Mr. Goodwrench shows up and says, I have the wrench. As a matter of fact, I am the wrench. So I'm going to step in and I'm going to tighten up whatever you need me to tighten up. And let's go ahead and do this together. So you release Mr. Goodwrench to tighten up every bolt on your platform that is going to launch your destiny. Now you're involved with Mr. Goodwrench because it was his tool and not yours. See, and this is what happens with a lot of visionaries. We don't wait until our tool is developed in our own toolbox. So we'll pull from somebody else's, which then now you've invited something or someone or a situation into something that God destined and designed for you to move and to control. And now you no longer have that control. You can't go by what the Father is actually requiring of you or telling you to do. And once you make the wrong move or it messes with the insecurity of Mr. Goodwrench, he's no longer happy or she's no longer happy. And now that she's no longer happy, she's ready to get her wrench or his wrench and now unscrew every bolt that was on your platform. And now where the area that you designed to launch off of is no longer yours. It's like having vision on credit. The money was never yours in the first place.
Wow.
Now you have to pay back years or regroup or rethink or sometimes even restart all over again because you moved too fast. You didn't wait. Yes, God. Yes.
Unfortunately, from personal experience, I'm so glad you put Mr. Goodwrench in the book.
Yes.
You know, and
yes.
Your main character seems to be the visionary.
Yes.
The visionary is pretty much premise throughout the entire book.
Absolutely.
How did you come up with the concept of the visionary? Was that from personal experience or was that a culmination of things? What was it?
Yes, a lot of it came from personal as well as just being inspired to write it because I wanted people to see, even when they read this, is that everyone is a visionary. Everybody has a dream. Okay, everyone has a dream. Some people, they may run into theirs a little later. You know, some people aren't positioned where they can actually discover what it is, but it's there. It's inside of us. And so that's why I speak of that, because I want people at the end of the day, they may say, well, I'm not a visionary, but by the time they finish this book, they're going to realize how much of a visionary they are, because mamas are visionaries. Right. You visionaries for your children. Oh, yeah. And every last one of these characters in here, you need to be aware that those characters are out there because they want to meet your children. They would love to get their hands on your kids, and you need to be able to recognize when they show up, who's who, and all those things. So yes, that's, really, really rich in that area.
Now, you said everyone's a visionary.
Yes.
Is this book for everybody? Did you have a certain person in mind?
I would say this. And when I say everyone's a visionary, either you are walking in it or you're being raised up to become. Oh, wow. But either way, even if you're following a visionary, you need this book because it will help you understand the visionary's heart. And it will also allow you to see a healthy visionary, because all visionaries aren't healthy people. They got a vision and they can take you somewhere, but you might not want to go where they're going. but understanding that individual and knowing when you see it. And then when you really genuinely want to support, those with dreams as God is building yours, how do you do that properly? We don't know how to do that. A lot of people don't know how to get up under someone else's vision and still fulfill theirs. A lot of times they think it has to be separate when it can actually be combined. But that takes training. It takes teaching. It takes a healthy heart to be able to do that. When I say healthy heart, I mean spiritually.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Your book definitely touches on, the mental aspects of things, the spiritual aspects of things, the physical aspects of things.
Yes.
I guess what I'm trying to say is, were you really trying to be deep, or did that just happen that way? Because the book really pulled chords on my heart.
Yes.
Pulled my heartstrings, and I'm reading it. I imagined it at first to be, a cold, little condemning, sort of a self-help book.
Right.
Everything I did was wrong. But it wasn't. I was engaged. I was in this book. I mean, I'm turning page after page. I'm seeing myself in a different light.
Absolutely.
Was that your intention, or did it just come out to be that way?
That was my intention. I should say also some of it came out to be that way, but that definitely majority was my intention. I wanted you to grow off of what I've seen, my experiences, as well as you connect to the book. And that's why I even used the characters, because I knew people remember characters. Okay. Normally, somebody wouldn't go this route with this type of book.
Right.
But I really want them to engage, like what happened with yourself, so that they can have a true understanding of what's going on in this book and also see themselves. I got a lot of different characters. So you have some that are healthy characters and you have some that are not so healthy. And I've already got testimonies of people that were reading and they said I had to put the book down. I saw myself. And so it's designed for that too, because you want to catch things. You don't want stuff to stay hidden. Right. If you're Mr. Goodwrench yourself, right. That needs to be exposed. If you're a death kisser, you need to know that you're a death kisser. You know what I mean? And I also wanted that to be seen for the women that, a lot of times, even in relationships, and I have that in there, explaining a little bit of the death kisser, is that it's usually someone who gives you kudos and praises all day long behind the scenes. But when you get in front of people, they don't speak it. They don't ever say it. They don't ever mention it. It's all hidden. And if that's the case, that is truly someone that could really harm you at the end of the day, or really doesn't have your best interest. They will never speak up for you. They will never stand up for you. They will never be an advocate for you at all in anything that you're doing. So you need to know those individuals. If they're gassing your head up, you know what I mean, when nobody else is around, but when everyone else is around and that's not the same message, you need to be concerned about that. Amen. Yes, God. That is the truth. So, and I've learned that and I've seen it. And so I wanted to speak about that. And then if someone sees, man, I didn't even know that was me. I didn't even know I was doing it. Wow. I have a strong insecurity in my life. I need to change that. I don't need to be the death kisser. And again, that's why I wrote it like that. It's not to condemn you, but it is to expose some things if they are in your heart. Yeah.
Definitely. Well, I love it. Like I said, I love the book. My heart was in it.
Yeah.
I was there. I found different colors of myself in the book.
Awesome.
And I think that's an awesome thing. I think a lot of books don't have that these days.
Yeah.
They talk about everyone else but you. Yeah. So
come on.
I love that.
Yeah, and that's why I did it. Yes.
And but I am curious.
Yes.
You do different things. You're a pastor, now an author. So what other projects do you have going on? I heard about a Rockstar Dropout CD being released.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about that. Is that part of something else?
Yeah. It's still all in the same vein. Just releasing what's in me. And also it's always tagged to a strong message. Okay. And I'm that individual that like to take a stand in areas that most people don't like to. I like to talk about things that most people like to sweep under the rug. That's just the type of individual I am. So even in my music, that is there too. There's a serious problem with music and music being released and what our children are listening to, what the youth is listening to, what our age group is listening to. And it's proven that it helps. It's not the whole problem, but man, it's probably good 70% of the problem that is destroying, our generation, the millennial generation. It is what it is. So Rockstar Dropout is a project, and it's music, a CD that I just produced. And in that, I'm just raising the banner up and just sharing things on my heart and just saying what's real and what's really out there concerning the music today and how I feel. I'm just looking for a few that want to rally up and really tell the truth about what's going on with our culture. And do it with ampness. Do it with, it's live. It's the beats is hitting. It's hard. It's fun. And at the same time, it does pierce. It does convict. You know what I mean? But it convicts in a way that I feel that culture is ready to receive anyway, because the culture of music, the culture of pop, the culture of hip hop itself is very confrontational. It's not a, it's very confrontational. So, even in that, I do it, but I do it with a fathering voice. I do it with love. But at the same time, just showing, hey, man, let's really look at ourselves. What are we doing? What are we holding up as a banner? And my choice and my message is, last thing we need to be right now is a rock star.
Yeah, you want to be a rock star? Everybody want to be a rock star. It's your boy, you know who it is. Yep, Mo D on the track, big fella on the track. Once again, 14757, baby. Rockstar Dropout, it's official. Yep, and we won't stop. And we won't stop. Nah, now we won't stop. White Stone in the building, Snowman in the building. Yeah.
And somebody said, there's nothing wrong with the roster. I believe maybe once upon a time there wasn't. But in every generation, in every era that changes, somehow we find a way to redefine words. So now the name and the title Rockstar doesn't mean what it used to mean. It literally means I don't want any accountability. I do what I want to do, whether it hurts or affects you or not. If you crazy enough or if you're foolish enough to follow what I'm saying, that's on you. If your parents are crazy enough to let you listen to what I'm saying and still be, not happy with what I'm saying, that's on you. That's not my problem. I'm a rock star, baby. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, take my picture, tweet me. You know what I mean? Instagram me. Like, this is what I'm about, and that's my message, whether you like it or not. Right. And to me, I think that is not really the route that we need to keep going, because it's really destroying the generation. So that's why the title is Rockstar Dropout. I'm a rockstar dropout. I was once going that route, and I decided to drop out because I seen the effects. I'm living, and I've worked with teens and youth, that are in urban areas and in the projects, and now even in the suburbs, and it affects them greatly. And they make very poor decisions that keeps them locked up and chained up in their minds, in so many areas of their lives. So I'm just ready to put up a new banner and say, look, give it a shot and say, man, Rockstar Dropout, forget that, be a role model, because a role model is accountable.
Right.
A role model is going to release something that they would release to their own children. A role model is something that they would release that's fire, but they don't mind their mama's watching it, and they're not embarrassed when their mama watch it. It actually gives their last name a good name and not a bad name. So that's the campaign.
No, I think that's awesome. That's awesome. Now, you said you were looking for others to rally behind it, to rally with you.
Yes.
So is this a movement? You called it a campaign.
Yes.
Tell me about the campaign. Tell me about the movement. What are your goals?
The goals with the movement is definitely to get others behind it. And it's other areas of entertainment that strategically, myself along with the team, we're setting up that we can become the influence.
Right.
Where we're utilizing our own platforms, and we're not just giving them entertainment. As a matter of fact, it's not really entertainment at all, because entertainment, as I've said before, a lot of times it keeps you from entering in. That tainment part at the end of enter, it keeps you from entering in. And what we feel like is a lot of entertainment keeps people from entering in true success, from entering in truly who they are, from entering into their true identity. They just copycat what everybody else is doing. So it smothers the arts. it smothers creativity. It doesn't release true creativity. Music could be at a whole nother level, but we trap it and we smother it with just one message in one way that is killing a generation. So that's the whole thing. So I am looking, and we're building that to become the influence for others to get behind this campaign and really bring a renaissance to music, a revival. And that's what Renaissance is, a revival in music. And a lot of people are capturing this vision, and some are coming alongside. But we're just believing for a greater influence and a greater platform.
Right.
We're going to build it.
What would you say then is the most rewarding part of building this project and pressing with this project? What is the best part about it for you?
The best part about it for me is setting up a leadway for my child, my daughter, who loves the arts. And so, and I feel that if you're doing anything, that's what should drive anybody. I don't think you should do something and release it, and then in the same time hopes that doesn't actually touch your daughter. Or that won't touch your son.
Right.
You know what I mean? If it's something that you're releasing that is degrading women, I don't want my daughter feeling like that's the only route that she has. I know that she's her own person, but when she sees daddy striving to stand for something, I need her to remember that. Even if I'm here all the days of her life, or the father takes me early, she's going to remember that my daddy stood for something. So I will not become a video vixen. I will not become use my beauty to get or to gain areas in places that I would like to succeed in. So I'd rather for her to be a trailblazer. So I'm really doing it for her. I need her to understand this. I'm yet but so old even now. I'm getting older. She's still young. She's going to be a teenager growing into her own. And it is for her to set up a platform that she will carry the torch. And I believe she will do that. She's surrounded by it. She's always in it. She's very gifted. And that's what drives me. And also for other people's kids, somebody's got to do it. I'm willing to be a piece of this puzzle so that they can have an alternative and not sell out.
Not sell out.
Absolutely.
I love it. Now you said that there are places that you wish to have success in. When would you consider Rockstar Dropout, the movement, a success?
I already consider it a success, actually. Let me say that. Okay. Because those who I'm working with, they've already grabbed hold of the vision. And if you get 2, 3, 5, or 6 behind what you're doing, as long as you continue and be consistent, it's going to multiply. My greatest example of a rockstar dropout is Jesus. And he dropped out in a lot of areas, even with religion. He was a religion dropout. You see what I'm saying? He went against the grain. He was not going for what all of the other teachers and scribes, all these are what they were saying. He knew his purpose and he went for it. And what's awesome about it, he impacted masses, but he sowed into 12. And the 12, because of them, we're still talking about his story. So as far as I'm concerned, Rockstar Dropout is already a success. I go to 15 to 20 folks that's behind it and ready to rally and carry on the message. So it can only multiply.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, then in closing, what would you say? What uplifting words would you have for aspiring writers, performers, artists, to visionaries? What would you say to them?
I would say several things, but I'll downsize that. One is to always be willing to wait for your time. Always be willing to allow the process to be complete in you, so that when you get your platform, you will not fall and fall miserably. and fail in areas that you didn't allow the process to prepare you. And so in your own dream, in your own vision, you choke yourself. That's one of the main things I would say is be willing to wait. Also, in everything that you do, know that time is of the essence, and, do not quit. Do not quit. Embrace change. Embrace change and be willing to reinvent yourself, because what you may have started several years ago, it may be old news. It may be old things that just aren't working anymore, and you need to know how to reinvent. It don't mean it's over. It's just things are shifting. Time is shifting, and be willing to shift and be open enough to be teachable, to walk in humility, lay down things that you may have started, give away things at times that you know that you can't hold on to anymore, and just be willing to chase and go after what the Father has called you to do.
Okay, now, here at Beyond the Art, we don't like to hog the artist.
Yes.
So now we're going to open up the floor.
Okay.
In case anyone else has questions that they want to ask.
Absolutely.
Who wants to go first?
Absolutely.
Pastor Moses, I appreciate you writing this book. One of the areas it talked about the dark room that really drew me in.
Oh, yeah.
And it talked about the visionary. It talked about hope deferred makes the heart sick. And it talked about the different outcomes for that visionary if they realize their dream, and if that visionary somehow does not get to the point where the dream is realized.
Yes.
Talked about it just really drew me in. And I guess my question is, you mentioned drawing up a kind of like a plan, a vision plan. Is that correct?
Yeah.
But were you able to recognize the resources or when the Lord was providing certain people and things came into your life? Was it clear?
Yes. And I'll say this: the reason why it was clear was because I had the plan down. I was able to identify when things were showing up, which then I could connect to that and say, this is the season for this, because either the resources have showed up or the people that can actually make this take place have showed up. So it allowed me to connect and identify and then implement that portion of the vision and the dream. And a lot of times, I'll say this, we'll get stuck there when you mentioned about the dark room. And the dark room, I use even the analogy of the way pictures are developed. And the dark room to us can feel like a negative place, but that's where the negatives get developed. And that's where, when you're that holding place, anything that was negative, understand that all things work together for the good of them who love the Lord, who are called according to his purpose. So in that season, negatives, all those things are being developed into a beautiful picture that in timing, in the right time, once that's released, you'll be able to see it and pursue it even better. But it's just not being, again, afraid of that dark room. And it's not, and I'll be first to say it ain't a fun place to be in. It's not, but you have those seasons and you just gotta wait and allow that thing to develop. So, yes, sir.
Anyone else?
Yeah, first of all, I appreciate the book. Like, it's really awesome. And I love the analogies. It's very just relatable. And looking at some of your titles, like Build a Legacy, Not an Agenda, like The Pressing Place, Third Day Anointing, I just kind of want to ask, as you were writing, what was your most difficult piece to write about and why?
Yes, I had a few, but I think one of the most difficult ones was The Pressing Place, and then also there's another area in there called Let Them Talk, because with both of those together, it's tough. When I speak about The Pressing Place, that is that area where you have no control. You have lost all control. There's nothing you can do to save yourself, to change a course or anything. You just have to allow what is taking place to bear down and squeeze out every bit of whatever's in you that is not of him out. And a lot of times that's designed. I remember those places. I remember being there. And why I said it's tough, and it's in that area is tough, is because that is when you actually experience what Christ experienced. Because there's nothing like pursuing and doing all that you are to do, but now at a place where things that may have come up may not even been concerning you, may not even been your fault. False accusations, things of that nature of a leader, having to experience being blamed for something that you actually did right, but you knew you had to become the bad guy for making the right call. You understand what I'm saying? Like those things, as you're walking through that stuff, as a visionary, it is tough and it can be a lonely place. And so I remember, and it would bring those things back in those times as I'm writing, and like, wow, but then there's such a victory in it, because you can celebrate, especially if you made it out properly, that you didn't lose yourself. You didn't lose hope. You didn't lose the vision completely, while you were walking through that. And that is even my own personal testimony. I remember even coming out of it, and even what I'm doing now and what the Father has me doing, I'm doing things that I said that I would not do anymore. You know what I mean? That's how you know you have no control. And you're literally allowing the Holy Spirit to heal, to comfort, and to press you forward. And so that is, that was that experience with that. Yeah, it's writing those chapters was a real place, man. But you got to roll with it and enjoy and embrace the fellowship of his suffering, man. So yeah, yes indeed.
Okay. Who's next?
I have a question for you, Pastor.
Yes.
Moses. The title of the book, Iron Compass, is very distinctive. I love it. And I feel like it's really going to draw people just by the name, Iron Compass.
Uh-huh.
And Jesus said, I come to seek and save that which is lost. How do you see this book reaching out to people that don't know Jesus, unbelievers?
I again, even the way that I wrote it, but I see it reaching out because, again, everybody, a lot of people have a dream. Mm-hmm. They have a vision. And the way that I wrote it, it's so dealing with people, and it's so relational, mm-hmm. to where regardless of what you're doing, that's why I have so many subtitles with it, to saying that it can connect or relate to this person or that lane, is because in everything that is in here, you have experienced it. Whether you're raising your kids, whether you're you're married, whether you're seeking to be married, if you're setting up your own business, if you're running a ministry, pastorally, all those things, it's all in here. And the world will definitely be able to identify, because even if you're in school or you're in high school, you're going to understand these characters. You've experienced these characters already. If you haven't yet, hold on to your seat. High schoolers and those who are college and career, you're about to experience this book. And so it's all in there. And that's one of the ways that I feel like it's going to draw. And I believe every person that is living, they want to be able to reach a place where they say, I've achieved and I've reached my destiny, and I've reached it well. And so this, again, as Kat was explaining, it doesn't condemn, but it sure does give you a pathway, and it helps you to understand people. And that's what I love about it. And when you can understand people, the less you will become hurt or walk around with unforgiveness. You know what I mean? Even when things don't go your way, or even when you may have been mistreated, you will know how to forgive, because you've separated yourself from it and understand that these are characters and these are personalities that people have and they walk with. So once you're equipped to understand that, it's an easier process. You still may feel some things, but you won't take them as personal, and you'll move forward. So I believe that's how it'll draw. I kind of see it, yes.
It's wonderful, praise the Lord. If you don't mind me saying what I really see right now, I see that God's going to use you in this book to really reach a lot of unsaved people.
Okay.
It's going to open a lot of doors for you in the arena that people that don't know Christ. And because you are such a cutting edge person, it's going to draw people that don't know Jesus because they're looking for something that's real.
Yes.
Looking for people that are real, that don't mind speaking the truth, whether it hurts or not, but it's still the truth. So people are really looking for what God has put in you. That's why God said, no one can do what you can do, because what God put in you, God gave to you only. So I just see many doors opening for you to reach the lost, to have your book on display for people that don't know Christ, and they're going to really be hungry for this. Even the title's going to catch their eye.
Yes.
So it's wonderful what you're doing.
Wow.
And we got your back.
Yes. Thank you. Yes, indeed.
Yes, you too.
Awesome.
All right, I think we have time for 2 more questions.
I'll go. I just wanted to say how honored I am that I've never met anyone who's been so transparent and so real. I haven't got a chance to really, digest the book, but I just, being married for 3 years, how can this affect married people as well as bringing healing and restoring and exposing?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, there's a lot of material in here that can help with that. Because again, it's dealing with people. So I think for the most part, the way this book can help marriages is there may be some things that you'll read, and even if you read it together as a couple, some things that you might have even wanted to say to your spouse that you might see in them, but you thought would offend them. And reading this, it gives an opportunity for them to maybe even see themselves, as well as it will help you to have understanding when you're dealing with other people outside of your home or with your marriage or people that you're connecting to. That will keep you all, it will raise your level of discernment up, because these characters also can present themselves, especially to married couples, absolutely, and could really do some harm if you're not educated about it, or just areas of wanting to do things again before your time, instead of just waiting and enjoying the season of where the Father has your marriage and where you're at, and allowing process and development to happen. And you guys will be able to draw from this book, and take some nuggets with you. And it will really take your relationship to a whole nother level. But like I said, for the most part, it's dealing with people, and you two are people. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, yes, it's almost like the book could speak for you, maybe in some areas that you wanted may say. And now it opens up the opportunity to discuss those things.
Awesome.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
One more question?
All right. Pastor Mo, you've been a leader for a long time and you've experienced different people. One title that really caught my eye was Witchcraft in the Pews. I love number one that catches your eye, like what witchcraft in the pews, what is that about? Because people don't associate witchcraft with church.
No.
At all. They think it's complete opposite.
Yes.
I love how you direct the attention towards watching leaders who have their own agendas. That's in the church. You being a leader, how do you handle another leader which is combative, or what you discuss in the chapter?
Man, that's good. Very good question. What I've learned to do in my experience, and even now, and some of you know how we're set up, is that I found out that strong discipleship and having strong relational foundation, those personality types will not stay. It's amazing. They only are attracted to dysfunction. And so if there's a lot of dysfunction going on, then they have leeway to do what it is that maybe their agenda is to do. But when you do not compromise and you stand strong on being relational before the people, walking in incredible humility, staying amongst one another's faces, and, you know, just really being that loving community and discipleship, strong discipleship, it cannot stay. It drives it out. So that's one way that I found is you can't hide. It's hard to hide when a whole lot of light going on. You see what I'm saying? Like, ain't too many cracks to find to be able to weigh. And I think a lot of times it happens because we as leaders will allow things to go on longer than what they should. And we'll weigh on things. And when we weigh on things, the darkness and shadows begin to appear, where then those who may seem to be a help or seem to be, connected with the Father, really, they can hide in those places, in those shades, because there's dysfunction, there's discord, there's, no true unity. So that's why I also teach anything that you're doing, especially because you particularly said ministry, it's okay to grow slowly. Growing slowly does not mean that you do not have a successful ministry. Yeah. Growing fast, you got to watch out for that. It leaves too many rooms for dark places to show up and for discord and dysfunction to show up. So grow slowly. Take your time, make discipleship the forefront, and make it a relational, like you have to be related. You have to relate. You know what I mean? You set the atmosphere for that. It's not like you're forcing people to. You set the atmosphere where the only way this train gonna function is through being relational. And once you do that, they're not gonna stay. Yeah, it drives them out. Their agenda does not fit. Yes, God.
Right. Are there any words that you'd like to say in closing?
Man, probably a little bit of what I said a little earlier. And that would be, in everything that you're doing. Sometimes when you don't quit, you can end up shocking yourself. And I'll tell you this, it's a great feeling. It's a great feeling. Shock yourself. You know what I mean? Every now and then. And when you do that, then others will benefit from it. They'll be able to eat from what you produce, and you'll see great results. So, don't quit and shock yourself, man. You know what I mean?
Is that the next book?
I know, right? Yeah. Yes, God. Yes, God.
Thank you for your time. Thank you so much for your words of wisdom and for sharing about your projects and
absolutely.
Your book. And I just wish you all the best and all the luck. And I got my copy. So.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
Everyone go out, get it. Where can we find you?
Right now, it'll be available soon online with all the online stores. It's Barnes and Noble, Amazon.com, and all the other, books as well, stores that are available online. So you can get it on there, and also some other things are going to be opening up here shortly. So, but it will be available online. So make sure you get it.
Looking forward to it.
Read the tags. Yes, indeed.
Well, I want to thank everyone here and all those tuning in for watching. Remember, you can get your book by Moses David, Iron Compass, on Barnes & Noble and Amazon.com. Until next time, I'm Kat, and this is Beyond the Art.
With the devil, have they taken things to another level? You say Big Brother ain't a friend of the devil. Purchase your own dang shovel, remove the rock from the dung to see the flaw of this fella. His industry is rigged.